Today, we're going to learn how to fly. And we're going to cover the basics, where it's the setup, the transition, the control in the air, and the dismount. With enough practice, flight can be achieved with any object other than disc, even a boulder. Now, let's start with the setup. First, get yourself a structure like a cube. Unground it, hold it, and flick it. You can do hold and flick in whichever orientation you want. Just make sure the hold is going to be the hand that is at your waist when you jump. Now, you might have seen when I did my hold, I didn't take my hands away. I left them there and just rotated into the flick. It's a nice quick way to get them both off very fast so that you can do it in a moment's notice. To start flight with a wall, spawn it and uppercut it. That'll not only unground it, but it'll also knock it over to a state in which it'll be able to be flown upon. You want to hold and flick. Remember the hold on the lower hand of the waist for the jump, just like the cube. So you got your object to fly with, and now we need to transition into the flight. How you do that is you keep your hands waist apart and just set them down so that the object is on the ground. Should look something like that. Make sure not to ground it. Then you want to assume the jump. When you jump, if you noticed, I pulled my hands under my headset. This will keep the block centered under you. You can pull it out a little or you can pull it back. But the important part is pulling it under your headset. That'll allow the block to scoop under you and pick you up. Now, it's important that the block make contact as you're rising. Otherwise, something like this would happen. And the block will just break. For the wall, same start. You set the block down next to you with your hands about waist apart. I guess length doesn't matter, just flat. And then jump and have the block touch you as you're rising. People say that the wall is the harder one because it'll hit you a lot. So they adapt it to where they start with a dash. That'll get the block moving in a direction that'll just glance you rather than break upon you. So when you're in the air, you need to control your block. You're going to have one hand above the other. And the hand with the hold is going to control the positioning of the block, while the hand without the hold is going to control the rotation of the block. You got to combine both of those to try to keep the block as flat as possible. And just like on an air hockey rink, it'll keep going the way it was. So you got to slowly rotate it so that it can redirect itself without fully just count as you pressing it against it. If it does, it'll break. So make sure to keep that hand about waist high. That way the block in the air doesn't break. If you need to lower yourself, you need to work with having the block push you at an angle and then like figure 8 or circles. Now, after getting trained a little bit with flight in the air and control down, you've learned it's inevitable. Something will happen. Your block will break. You'll accomplish getting where you need to get to. That was your main goal or something. Or you fly it into your opponent. There are lots of ways to end flight. But I like to end it with a ground while in the air, and it forces it down onto the opponent. Once again, I'm going to reiterate, with flight with a wall, others find it more simple. to fly in the air, or start with the dash and then jump. And then you just got to focus on that angling. Keep it moving. You can angle it downwards a little bit and... Okay, time to summarize it all together. We got starting, the hold, the flick, the jump, the landing, the control, and the dismount. Now it's your turn to experiment and train, and I'll see you in the ring.